that are particularly beneficial. First off, one of the things that I'll just touch on really briefly is sometimes if you have a child who's maybe reluctant to learning something or reluctant to a particular subject, putting it in this real life situation can make it much more appealing.
Yeah,
it's going to show the child it's more
true.
applicable, but also it's going to feel like, I mean, you can even teach with a game. So that will help you teach that skill, kind of move past that roadblock without the frustration of, I'm not enjoying this, I'm not wanting to learn this, etc. That you maybe
exactly. The shutdowns already happen, and we're beating a dead horse.
Right. And so that is one thing. And it's like changing the environment. It's changing everything. You're no longer sitting where you usually sit when you do your school books. You've changed that environment as well, which can kind of give a fresh perspective sometimes and for the kids and help them kind of reset.
Yes, that's a good point.
But the other thing I think that it really helps with the parents is it helps you to really view whether the child is truly understanding what you're teaching. So if you're teaching and you kind of, if you really pay attention and as you interact with other people, you can tell when somebody really doesn't understand what they're talking about. They're just repeating something they've been told and they haven't actually processed it. They don't fully understand it themselves.
Right.
And I remember that was a big shock when I got to college and when I got to even professors, and you'd ask a question and you realize they didn't know how to answer the question because they've never actually thought about this. And they're a professor in this, they have a PhD.
But they've studied the books and they know how to rehash the book answers.
Exactly. And so when you put it then in this real life situation, you're forcing your students to kind of process and apply to a slightly different situation, a different context. And it's also not going to be a context that incorporates, like it's probably not going to be exclusively math or exclusively science because the real world isn't exclusively something. So that also helps you to kind of see if they're able to apply across these different disciplines, these different subject areas, and really integrate what they've learned. So that is helpful from a parent perspective because it lets you, the same thing we see as a therapist, if I were working with a patient, seeing if they can really understand and apply that movement pattern or that exercise once you've removed the context they've been practicing in.